Actually, people are very happy about that because, right now, as we don't have place to gather, because most of the churches have been closed, and they are doing their best not to allow churches to reopen. You know, they are doing their best not to allow churches to reopen. So the churches that are already there, we used to contact them, speak with them, and ask them about their members. If and this is a way for us. Those emergency relief kits are a way for us to gather people to check up on them. And it's also helping the churches a lot. Because it's helping them to remind people that they are not forgotten. And even if there is no way for people to get together and be together, well, some people are thinking about them. We are thinking about them. They are not forsaken. They are not forgotten.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting uh, fact that many of these people, converts, they do feel forgotten. It's not like they can just go into a church without the secret police, as you mentioned, or their own family questioning and wondering what they're doing and who they're meeting with.
Yeah.
And so for a believer to come alongside a convert and provide necessary things, items, food, clothing, and to say, hey, we're praying for you. There's people praying for you. It must be very rewarding for you, Asil, to encounter these people and to hear them say thank you.
Exactly, actually, exactly. Because, as everything is hiding here, it's surprising and it's heartwarming when you're meeting other people that are also believers. It's like, oh my God, thank you. There are other believers in the country.
That statement is interesting, right? Is that people sometimes they're almost shocked that they're not alone, right? I would imagine you find that you encounter that, especially as you get out of the big cities, that people are shocked to know that they're not alone.
They are, because for them, whenever they are facing their families and whenever that fear of living their life comfortably as Christian, it's something that is tormenting them every day. You can't shout out loud that you belong to Christ. You have to continue pretending. You know, you have to be careful of what you are saying. You have to be careful of the way you are living.
Asil, could you share some stories of persecuted Christians that you've come alongside and helped through Help the Persecuted?
If we have a lot of things to say, there are a lot of things that were. What can I start with? Okay, I'll start with a couple of South Sudanese. They came newly. They came newly in Libya, and when they came, what happened to them? On their way coming to the capital, to Tripoli, the driver that was taking them to come asked them just one question, like, "Are you guys Muslims or Christians?" You know, as you know, they are faithful Christians, everything. So they were happy to answer, "Oh, we are Christians." The next thing that happened, they got kidnapped. They got kidnapped by the driver. He called some militians, and the next thing that they started doing was beating them up, and they put a knife on the throat of the lady, and they were like telling the husband, "You need to renounce your faith. You need to renounce your faith, or we will kill your wife." And before that, all their belonging, of course, they took it. They took the ring of the woman. They took everything, their money, everything they had. So it was like, you have to renounce to the faith, or we'll kill your wife. The only thing that saved them is that the woman said she started to pray. And she was like, "Lord, please, we came here to start a new life. We never imagined that this country was like that. We never experienced something like that. You have to save us." They were held until the night. And she said that slumber fell upon the people that um, took them. And is at that moment they start running, because they took them like somewhere very far. They start running, and this is how they were saved. This is how they were saved. When I heard that story, I was like, oh my God, God is good. God is great.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And right now they are with us in the safe house because um, upon everything that happened to them, their neighbors started to complain, started to complain and say they would call the police on them. Why? Because they discovered they were Christian. And now the husband at his working place is facing issues because the manager just asked him, "Are you a Christian or a Muslim?" So when he said he was the Christian, the manager vowed to create all the trouble for him unless he give up the faith and becomes a Muslim.